Welcome to Creativity Talks with me, Hazriq Idrus, founder of the Speaking Factory, keynote speaker for creative leadership and communications. People have this misconception that creativity is only meant for the arts. So in these Creativity Talks, we are going to explore how creativity can be applied in many areas such as business, career, and life, and how creativity can help us to be better versions of ourselves. To do this, there will be invited guests who could be everyday people or experts who will share with us their journey and discuss topics such as personal development, personal branding, book publishing, mindset, creative process, and many, many more. I thank you for joining me in this journey where creativity and personal growth collide. Enjoy the episode. Hi, and welcome to our next episode of Creativity Talks with me, Hazriq Idrus. So if you have been following us previously, it was called Creative Fridays before, but this time around we just rebranded a bit, all right? But anyway, today we'll have a guest speaker, all right? One of my guests will be sharing with me about today's topic on how to handle difficult customers and situations. And without much further ado, let me invite the one and only, the founder of Ideas and Inspiration, Jit Puru. Hi, Jit.
Hey, Hazriq. Hi. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, you're welcome. How are you, man?
I'm good. It's good to be on your show.
Oh, yes. Thank you. This is the first time I'm trying it live, so I don't know what to expect.
I'm sure it's going to go well. You know, you always do a good job with your stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. With supporters like you, with my mentor. Actually, Jit's my mentor doing all these things. So that's why I'm here. That's why he's my first guest to give me the encouragement in that sense. All right. Yeah, Jit, you have actually founded the Ideas and Inspiration, and I was with you in the event. We started somewhere in 2018, right? Around there.
Yeah. Our first event was July 2018.
2018, and we had it. And each time the Ideas and Inspiration started, and he went on for every quarter, and each time we have like about 200 people in the audience, and then the YouTube, now you have about 350,000 odd subscribers.
Our YouTube channel has about 350,000 subscribers. Around there. Almost 350,000 subscribers.
Wow, wonderful. And the views, we already reached the minimum 1 million mark by YouTube. Congratulations.
I got a couple of videos with 1 million views. There's one video which has over 7 million views, and then there's another video with about 1 million views. Then other videos is it's in the tens of thousands as well on average. So it's very encouraging.
Wow. Is it something that you actually preempted before, and what was actually inspiration to start Ideas and Inspiration?
Well, the reality is this, okay? So Ideas and Inspiration, a lot of people, when they ask me what is Ideas and Inspiration, I always tell them this: the simplest way to understand what Ideas and Inspiration is, it is a TED-like event. So if you've seen a TED Talk, this was who I felt was doing a very good job in terms of spreading ideas, putting across good ideas, inspiring ideas to the community. And I wanted to add on to what they were doing. So if you look at TED, how they have speakers on board, 15 minutes or less sharing an idea, that is what I did with Ideas and Inspiration as well, where I invite people with great ideas, people with an inspiring story, to take stage and share this idea or story to a live audience. So, but being a speaker was never a requirement. So you don't have to be a speaker. You don't need to be a trainer. You don't need to be someone who has taken stage before, a Toastmasters champion. No, you don't need to be all that. But you need to be someone with an idea to share. All right. And if you don't have any experience in speaking in front of a live audience, this is where we also provide the end-to-end support. Where we help you get that idea, formulate the idea, put it on pen to paper, create a structure around it, build a talk around it, the coaching sessions, on how to deliver that talk effectively, all the way, and everything is done with the community spirit in mind, where there is no charge. We don't charge anyone to be part of Ideas and Inspiration. No one pays to speak at Ideas and Inspiration. No one pays to get coached at Ideas and Inspiration. No one pays to attend Ideas and Inspiration. Everything is done for the community, with that community spirit at hand. So when I started Ideas and Inspiration, people always ask, am I a competitor to TED? And the answer is no. If anything, we are in line with what TED is doing. We're just one more avenue to give people more opportunities, to not just put forth ideas, but to also receive ideas and inspiring stories. Did I expect it to grow to the level that it is right now? No, because when I started, it was always the focus was the live event. We are running live events. We got 200 people in attendance, and that's good. But of course, we recorded all of these videos professionally, edited it, and put it up on a dedicated YouTube channel, because that was what TED was doing, right? So I was like, if we're going to model excellence, we try to model as much as we can. If can, we model everything, right? So TED had a YouTube channel, so Ideas and Inspiration naturally needs to have a YouTube channel. So I got these videos and I put them up, and once a quarter was the event, which means every year there was 4 events. That's 20 speakers, 20 talks, and this were put up on a YouTube channel with, I would say, I never expected this many subscribers, because to me it's on that channel. It's a free resource for anyone who wants to consume this resource, these videos, these stories, these inspiring ideas. So 2018 started. About 18 months later, July 2018, we started. By December 2019, something happened. At about 1.5 years, one of the videos started going viral, and that attracted more eyes to the channel. And then another video became viral, and that was how the journey where from about 300 to 500 subscribers by the end of 2019, suddenly went up to 100,000 subscribers by January or February 2020. And then it just kept growing to where it is right now, and we have a global audience with lots of people tuning in to watch the content. So of course, with COVID and the pandemic now, we don't do live events anymore. So we do go studio-based or home-based recordings. And the style has changed a little bit, but it's still about sharing inspiring ideas, powerful ideas, or inspiring stories to people all over the world.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I must say that I am a product of his program.
You were on the second Ideas and Inspiration.
Because I got inspired by the first event. I was like, wow, everybody was well done, well rehearsed, and I was in the rehearsal looking and learning from them, and I haven't got my topic yet. And then suddenly I remember Jit said, "Hey, Hazriq, go." I was like, "What? I haven't really prepared." So I think that was the first time I give it a try. No prepared yet, because that was I was speaking anyway back then, and the first event, right? So until the second rehearsal, then Jit, you told me, Hazriq, prepare your script and prepare your speech. This time around is a real rehearsal for you. But I was preparing for the next one, which was in October
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Right. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Talking about sharing, platform, a good platform for sharing. And I believe you also have a book. You have one of the many books, right? You have your first book, You Deserve Happiness. Yeah. Yep. So can you share a little bit about the book?
Well, this book, I wrote it, I started writing it in 2015, got it published in June of 2016. And the story behind this book is there were, like a lot of people, we've got our ups, we've got our downs in life, and it's sometimes when it's challenging, and you don't have certain answers or certain, way out, books have always been a go-to place for me. I've always found a lot of inspiration from reading books, a lot of answers, and just getting that train of thought in the right place again. So when I started my career as a trainer, as a speaker, I always had that goal at the back of my head that, hey, one day I would like to write a book as well to help people out there, other people who may not be able to afford coaching, expensive seminars, expensive training sessions, but with a book, it's about $15 to $20 that people can invest, and I want to help people with the tools that I have acquired, which I believe would help people. So in 2015, I sat down to write the book. Got it done. It took me a year to get it published, and that book, You Deserve Happiness, really, it's a book about how one can have better control over their emotions, to achieve the results that they want. Because we are all emotional beings, and not many of us have a lot of control over our emotions, me included, and this book is about understanding, what are the triggers for certain emotions, how can we trigger the right emotions, how can we use these emotions to our advantage, how do we take a look at the belief system that we have, how do we focus better, how do we get into the habit of taking action, how do we utilize the law of attraction, all to achieve the success that we want. And success doesn't necessarily mean monetary, right? Success means achieving the goals that we have set, and the accomplishment of a goal or purpose, that is success. If you look at the definition for success, that's what success really means, right? So that's what the book is about. It's an easy read. It's a 200-page book, but it's an easy read, written written in a way that even someone who's never read a self-help book will be able to understand it. And the whole goal is to just help people get better control over their emotions.
Yeah. Talking about succeed, you have succeeded in idea and inspiration. You have succeeded publishing.
I think I'm still on the journey. I still got big plans and big goals for it. But yes, a measure of success. Yes, we've hit some milestones. Not at the end yet, but yes, we've hit some milestones, and I will say, it's been a good journey, especially with the support from people like you and everyone else who's on the team, to make this journey, smoother in terms of achieving our bigger goal, which is again to help as many people as we can. I will say yes, a measure of success.
Nice. Talking about journey, your journey didn't start as the founder of Idea Inspiration, didn't start as an author, right? I understand you started off as a cabin crew. Yeah, tell us about that. Tell us your experience back then.
Actually, I didn't really start off as a cabin crew because my formal education is in engineering.
Wow.
My formal education is in engineering. I was, and my first job was in the engineering field. I was an engineering assistant for a plant in Jurong, a Panasonic plant in Jurong, where we used to make hard disk drives, and I was there for about a year and a half. This was way back in the year 2000 and 2001, where shortly after joining the company, about a year and a half into it, there was an economic crisis at that point of time. A lot of companies were closing down. A lot of companies were moving out of Singapore. So my entire plant shut down, and there was a mass retrenchment going on. And, I was one of those who got retrenched. And then there was a little bit of struggle of finding a new job, So it was quite a struggle then, because a lot of people were out of a job. That was when after about 7 months of just applying for jobs in the engineering field, I saw the walk-in interview for Singapore Airlines as a flight steward. And, it was never... I would say it was never a lifelong dream to be a flight attendant. But at that point, it was really out of necessity because, something needed to pay the bills. And I was running out of options. And I saw that there was an interview. And I was like, it's a walk-in interview. What's the worst that can happen? You don't get the job.
And how long you lasted in as a cabin crew?
All right. So I joined. So I went for the interview in 2000, mid-2000, got the job. Started my training December 2002. I did not expect to be there for 7.5 years.
7.5 years. Wow, that's very, very long.
7.5 years. Yeah, I left the airline industry. I left Singapore Airlines in March of 2010.
Well, almost 8 years, which is
almost 8 years.
2 World Cups.
Which seems like a lifetime ago now, because it's 2021 now, and I left Singapore Airlines in 2010. So for those who are tuning in and you're watching this, you can, I think, somehow make a guess of what my age is now.
So if you could you can help us recall your experience, your journey going through the interview process back then. How was it? Was
Wow.
it easy? What was the criteria the
Oh no,
employer
man.
was looking for?
Singapore Airlines. I mean, we all know Singapore Airlines have very high standards, in terms of the people that they choose and the processes that they have in the interviews. Of course, the interviews right now, I think compared to what I did 19 years ago. Wow, I joined Singapore Airlines in 2002, 19 years ago. I'm sure the processes and the interviews have changed a little bit in terms of what the flow is going to be. But if I were to think back when I joined, it was multiple stages. I think there was 4 or 5 stages of interview. From a group interview to a one-on-one interview to a mingling session, and then there was the pool session, and there was a lot. And then there was the I think the presentation segment, and it was split over 2 days. So there was the first day where you go for the interview, and then from the first day they will shortlist candidates, and if you make it through the shortlist, they will tell you, okay, you come back maybe I think a week later or so for the second part of the whole interview process. So back then it was not easy. It was not easy. To be honest, I actually didn't make it the first time I went. A lot of people don't know this. I actually went for the interview twice. The first time I went for the walk-in interview, I didn't make it through. I can't remember.
What was the reason? Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know. They didn't tell you the reasons, but I think there must have been something that I didn't do quite well. But they don't stop you from going again for a second time. And I went back for a second time. Probably maybe I was better prepared. I had a better idea of what to expect out of the whole experience, right? Because the interview process is an experience. It's not just an interview; it's an experience. And the first time you're kind of walking in a little blind because especially if you don't do your research, you don't talk to people who have already been in the airlines and find out what to expect, and you walk in blind thinking that it's everything's just going to work out fine. I think it's good to have optimism, but I think it's even more power when you couple optimism with due preparation.
Wow, wonderful.
I think the second time,
Yeah, and usually to prepare flights, there's a lot of work to be done beforehand. If you can share with us, like on a day with a flight steward or cabin crew, what would it be like, your routine?
You're right. There's a lot of preparation that goes into even before a flight because we've got every flight is different. Because the passenger profile is going to be different. The place that we are flying to is a different place. Customs requirement, immigration requirements, all these are different. And once we are on board the aircraft, once the doors are closed, right, we are the only source of information for the passengers. And this was back in the day where we don't even have in-flight Wi-Fi. And so whatever information that the passenger needs about our destination station, it's got to come from the flight attendants themselves. And because of that, we need to be prepared. We need to know everything about the station, immigrations, customs, what can they do, what can't they do. On top of that, we've got to be very well versed with the safety procedures because again, flying is safe, but at the same time, it is always a risk involved in flying. So, there's a lot of preparation work. So I would say we used to call this like every time before the flight, that day is actually homework day for us to do our homework about that upcoming flight, prepare for everything, so that we are prepared. So of course, then it depends on the flight time. We've also got to plan in adequate rest before the flight, because if you're doing a 12-hour flight to Europe, you've got to make sure that you get enough sleep during the day so that you can now be alert, be focused, to provide not just the service standards that is required by Singapore Airlines, but also the safety standards required, to keep so that the passengers have a pleasant and safe journey to their destination. So all that we need to plan. Then of course, it's about planning about the station that we are reaching to, what's going to be the weather there, what are the clothes we must bring, what are the places we want to go and visit, what's going to be our whole agenda there. So it's a very fun, I would say it was a very fun time in my life.
Wonderful. Any like horror stories? Because I've heard like cabin crew, they experienced horror when they landed at the hotels or whatsoever. Anything from you?
Well, okay, I think there are definitely a lot of different horror stories, and for example, and I think it's just depending on what is the situation about this horror story itself. Because okay, we have had difficult customers. I've had difficult customers while flying as well. Once again, once the doors are closed, we are in a tube flying 35,000 feet above the air. Whether it's 12 hours, whether it's 15 hours, and whoever is in that tube for that duration of the time is going to be in that tube for that duration of the time. And when you're having like 300 people on board, you're going to get some customers who are maybe a little bit more demanding, a little bit more challenging. Some could even be intoxicated, a little bit more problematic. So if you ask me if horror stories on board, I would say the one that always stands out the most is when people get intoxicated, where they go a little bit more than they should with the drinks. And then once they get intoxicated, now there's this problem where they are not very compliant to instructions that's being given, especially safety instructions. They can become verbally abusive. Some of them can even become physically abusive. And now we've got to be prepared for all of this. So I suppose a horror story that comes to mind is a passenger who was already intoxicated before coming on board. Even before the plane could take off, this passenger actually started becoming a little bit verbally abusive with racial remarks.
Wow! And how do you overcome that situation?
Well, the it's easy if the doors are still open. If the doors are open and the planes haven't taken off yet, it's a lot easier because now we can hand over the case to the ground staff and the airport security. And they take all this very seriously because this person is actually a threat to the safety of other passengers. And if the doors are open and it's on ground, especially if it's intoxication and you're verbally abusive and you're giving racial slurs, the case will be handed over to the ground staff and the airport police, and they will probably come and detain this person, and that could be a criminal case, which honestly isn't very worth it. For some drinks and intoxication and to get into trouble with the law, it's not very worth it. But I think with most times with people who are intoxicated, the law is the least of their concerns. It's only when they're sober that the law becomes a priority again. But it gets a bit more challenging if the doors are closed. And
tell us more on that.
So then it becomes very challenging because hey, we do have a flight to do. There are still a lot of other passengers, and there's going to be maybe hours before we reach the next destination. Okay, so if a passenger does become unruly, does become abusive, there are a few things that can happen. Of course, for this we do have a protocol. The passenger is going to, because it's a safety and security protocol, they are going to get a stern warning. Okay, they're going to get a warning first, then they're going to get a gentle warning, then a stern warning, which could then lead up to where they even get what's the word that I'm looking for? Tied down to the chair. Where we are actually detained to the chair because we do have a kid and all, but we need to get the right permissions where we actually, now put this passenger on the chair and they can't move from it. And if they are still very unruly and all that, it could be a diversion where the captain will have to make a decision to divert the aircraft to land somewhere so that we can hand over this person to the relevant authorities. And so it gets a bit more challenging in that sense, but there are SOPs. Not a lot of creativity is required when it comes to safety and security. But I would say if it's service challenges, this is where we need to employ a little bit more creativity. So say for example,
I would love to hear that. Share with us.
For example, right? We are on an overnight flight. Okay, there's 300 people in the aircraft. And the aircraft is split by zones. We've got the economy class, and economy class normally will have like 2 zones in economy class, and then there's business class, and then there's first class if the aircraft has first class. So each zone has centralized cooling and heating. Okay. So can you imagine if you're in one zone and there's about 100 over passengers sitting in one zone. And out of the 100 passengers, 99 passengers are very comfortable with the temperature, which is set around 23 to 24 degrees anyway. But we have one passenger who is feeling cold, and this passenger now insists that we turn up the heat, increase the temperature because the passenger is feeling too cold.
And other people will get affected with that,
of
right?
Course.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what would you do?
Wow. I have
so let me ask you, what would you do?
I don't know. I probably, if me, I would put it somewhere, but I don't know if there's any space for him to go within the tube. I don't know. What would you do?
It's a full
what
aircraft.
did you do? Yeah,
it's a full aircraft. There's no seats, So there's no seats. So that's my scenario to you. It's a full aircraft. There's no seats. Everyone is asleep. One passenger wakes up and says that it's too cold. I want you to increase the temperature right now.
Wow. Okay, probably I would. I'll give him more blankets then. I don't know. I would do that. Maybe I don't know. Is that what you should do? Is that what you do?
So the reality is this, right? I think what we need to understand, especially in the service industry, and we're dealing with customers, is this, right? A lot of times, every problem that a customer puts forth is a real problem for them. And one of the worst things that someone in the service industry could do is to downplay someone else's problem. And certain mistakes that even I see these days, whether it's restaurants and all that, it's like, if someone says, hey, you know what, it's too cold, the worst thing you can do is tell them, oh, no, it's not really that cold. No, it's actually okay. Our temperature is set to 24 degrees, which is normal, and everyone else is comfortable, and I can't do anything about it. So these are the little things that don't work in your favor, because passengers generally want to see effort. They want to see you. They want to see you having empathy about their situation. Because if we were passengers, it's the same thing, right? Hey, I could be running a fever, but maybe I don't even know it yet that I'm running a fever, and that's why maybe I'm feeling a little bit cold. And to me, that cold is real, Even if 100 over other passengers are feeling comfortable, for me, that cold is real. So this is where a lot of things that we learn, some are service procedures that we learn in training schools. Some are passed down from our seniors, who have been in this kind of situation.
Not in the books. Not in the
books, but they teach us to follow the rules, but at the same time, be a little bit creative in our approach. Because the standard approach is no, I can't do anything about the temperature. It's set, unless more passengers complain. But there's going to be a good way to put this across. So what I would do, or what I used to do, is very simple. First and foremost, of course, I will have to put myself in the shoe of the passenger. So if anyone says that, the temperature is quite high, the first thing I will do is, of course, I will apologize. I say, oh, I'm so sorry that the cabin's a little bit too cold for you. May I just check, are you feeling okay? Do you feel a little feverish, or are you generally just feeling cold like this? And this is just to make sure that they are not sick, or if they are sick, because if they are sick, we can offer some medication as well, but let's just say that they're not feeling sick and they're okay. The next thing will be, okay, let's just say, okay, Mr. Hazriq, let me go and take a look at the temperature and see if everything is okay. All right. While I'm doing that, just give me a couple of minutes. Let me go and get you an extra pair of blanket right now. So that at least you can start keeping yourself warm first with that extra blanket. And while I'm checking on the temperature, can I offer you a hot drink? And Mr. Hazriq most likely is going to go there. Yeah, sure, a hot drink does sound like a good idea, because I am feeling cold. And what's going to happen is this: that extra pair of blanket and that hot drink is going to heat you up internally. And because of that, I wouldn't even need to go and change the temperature, but I will go and check on the temperature. That's for sure. Because, it could be that the temperature dropped, maybe someone made a mistake and went a bit lower, and it's a valid concern. So always do that check. I will check, but if I see if everything is okay, then we've got to look at the comfort of everyone, while also keeping this one person comfortable. And that's where we offer alternatives while still showing effort, that this person's needs are important.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just one problem they shared of coal. They offered
Yep.
3. Number 1 is the blanket. Number 2,
Yep.
hot drink, and then number
Yep.
3, go and check. 3 options. This equanimity.
Of
This is
course.
what I call the idea
Yeah.
generation, isn't it? 3 options to solve one problem, and I'm sure they're very happy.
Of course. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right, it's all about effort. And like I said,
True.
it's got to be you putting yourself in the shoes of the customer. If it was
Mm-hmm.
you, would you not appreciate effort from the service professional? They may not be able to solve the problem in the exact way that you wanted it solved. At the end of the day, they put in the effort to try and solve the problem, even if it's offering alternatives, and effort goes a long way. So
Definitely.
and I think this is something that we can apply not just when we are in the service industry, because you see there's customers in the form of external customers, if you're in the service industry.
Exactly.
But let's just say you're working in an organization, you're also going to have internal customers, your colleagues,
True.
your bosses, your peers, it could be your team members. These are all your customers as well. And every customer's problem can be handled in the same way if we look at the problem, that challenge that they are facing, as something that is real. So give them the attention that they need, and they deserve that attention. Be sincere about the approach to find a solution to help them alleviate that problem. And as long as effort is being put in and you're working hand in hand, right, to come up with different options, most customer problems can be handled. And even if we can't solve the problem, the customer is going to be happy with the effort that's being put in.
Exactly. Yeah. Talking about working together with colleagues. All right. These are your internal customers. I understand that the cabin crews have to work with different colleagues each time, right? Every flight. So, how's your experience? Any difficult situations working with them? Not with customers, but their internal customers.
I think as long as we a group of people who have never met each other, put it on a sector, right? I think there's always going to be this chance of conflicts and not in sync with each other that's going to be happening. But I think at the same time, it's this understanding that we are all professionals. We are professionals, and there is a certain meaning. I don't have to like you. I don't need to like your style, but there is going to be that professionalism that we have to adopt and display while we're on the job. Because you may be my supervisor and I may not like your style, but at the end of the day, you are still my supervisor, and there's still that due respect that I have to give you, because of the file and rank. And you are more responsible than me in terms of making sure everything goes according to plan, because if anything goes wrong, you are the one who is going to be answerable.
If you can share with us anyone on one incident that you were dealing with, maybe your colleague or your supervisor, that things didn't go according to me because of the conflict, right? How did you actually overcome it? Just share with us 1 or 2 experiences, your journey.
Okay, I can't think of a specific example right now because there has been so many different cases. But I think end of the day, I think it's all about taking ownership. Taking ownership, eating the humble pie. This is something that we always thought when we're in Singapore Airlines. We say we always, as a service professional, we always got to eat the humble pie. There's no room for ego. And sometimes to diffuse a tense situation, one of the best things you can do is just to apologize. Just apologize, take ownership over the situation. Keep in mind what's the end goal, because no one wants to have a terrible flight, no one wants to have a lousy flight. You just want to get to your destination safe and sound, while having a pleasant experience, and just eat the humble pie. Okay, so the good news about working in the airlines is this. I may not like my boss, but I'm only going to work with my boss today. My next flight, I won't have a different boss. So we get variety, because we're always flying with different people, right? So if you ask me, what are some creative ways to solve the problem? This is it. Changing that mindset and changing that perspective. Thinking about that person who works in a 9-to-5 job in an office, who doesn't like his or her boss, but have to see his or her boss every day.
Like eternity.
That to me is worse, because for me, okay, I may not like this person, their style, but hey, I'm only going to work with them for this one flight. My next flight is going to be someone new, which means, okay, let me just do what I have to do, and learn as much as I can, and until this flight is over. Yeah. So changing of that perspectives, and that's going to be some creative principles that you have to apply for that as well.
Yes, wonderful. Wow, it's wonderful sharing, Jit. Really, you mentioned about changing your mindset, changing about the empathy, diffuse conflict. These are the principles of how to be creative. And you mentioned, I like the story about school, but give 3 things because of that one problem. It's really ideal generation. Yeah. Wonderful.
So we have a golden rule. I don't think it's a black and white rule, but it may be a black and white rule. I can't remember, but it's all ingrained. I think with each and every one who has been part of the Singapore Airlines cabin crew, and this golden rule is we never say no to the customer, straight away. It's always about showing effort. It's always about offering alternatives. Even if I know what you ask, I don't give you an outright no, because a no is like a slap on the customer's face. What supersedes a no is it's effort and alternative. So say, for example, if you come on board and you tell me, hey Jit, can I have the Top Gear magazine? And I know we don't carry Top Gear magazine. I know we don't carry it, but you still ask me for it. What's going to be more powerful than a no is, okay, so just give me a minute. Let me go and check if we are carrying that magazine on board today. Okay, and I'm going to go now. I'm going to check. I know we don't have it, but what I'm doing right now, I'm going to the magazine bag to see what are similar magazines. What else are automotive or cars that may interest this passenger. And then when I go back, I'll just tell the passenger politely that, sir, I'm so sorry, I apologize. We don't have the Top Gear magazine because we actually don't carry this magazine, but I've brought you this alternative instead. Would any of them be of interest to you? So
giving them alternatives.
All about that alternative. So it's never saying no straight away. It's always about effort and alternatives. And this is where sometimes you've got to be a bit creative, right? Like, okay, how do you what could be relevant alternatives? What could be relevant alternatives? What can we do that's going to be fun? One of the best things I think we used to do before was whenever we celebrate passengers' birthdays on board.
Oh, nice.
we celebrate passengers. Sometimes we know. If we know it's a passenger's birthday, we always try to do something special. But some passengers do order a birthday cake. Because if it is your birthday, you can let the airlines know, and they will arrange for a cake to
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we try to do something special, and a lot of cabin crew will actually go the extra mile where we they buy cards and stickers and pens, and we'll be creating birthday cards by hand in the galley during the lull period, because it's not a Hallmark card where you buy and everything is written already, right? These are handmade cards that we make, and the whole goal is to make the experience a little bit more pleasant for the customer, for the passenger, so that this doesn't just become a flight. It becomes a page of their experience. It becomes a memory. It becomes a pleasant memory
in their life. Wow.
And these are all things that go extra out of the. It's out of the norm. It's thinking out of the box to be creative. Getting little soft toys, tying them together. It's just a lot of fun.
It's really about making connection, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing about creativity. When you're having fun and an enjoyable time with each other, you're going to be that sincerity and that creativity is going to flow a lot easier.
True. Yeah. Definitely. I like the word they use, flow, because creativity is all about flow, and to have flow, you need to be that state of mind. The whatever you mentioned is really makes it. Wow, wonderful. Really, thank you, Jit. It was a very wonderful time. We almost like 45 minutes sharing here, and it was wonderful. All right. So before we end, we almost come to the end of the program. And before we end, maybe if you could share some advice, especially right now, the pandemic is taking over. People lost their jobs, especially aviation industry. They have really affected a lot. What would you advise for them?
I think, okay, first and foremost, I think it's understanding a very simple principle, which is as dark as the night gets and as heavy as the rain falls, the skies will eventually clear up and the sun will rise. You know, it's how nature works. You know, yes, we are in a tough time right now. It's been a challenging time for about a year and a half, but things will eventually get better. So right now, it's just having that hope, that belief that it's going to get better, and persevering through the challenging times. You know, so this is the principle I think that we've got to remember to keep going. That things are going to get better, but we just have to persevere through this rough period. But having said that, this is also an opportunity, right, to start recalibrating, looking into maybe what are the skill sets that we have acquired, you know, what is relevant, what is not relevant, what do we need to acquire for the future, because moving forward, life is going to be very different, you know, than what it used to be. So are we equipped with the right skill sets for the future? You know, are we digitally savvy? You know, that's going to be one thing that's very important. If we are not, what can we do? How can we be more digitally savvy? How can we, you know, acquire more skill sets? So I would say take this opportunity to keep learning, keep exploring, and I think keep exploring alternatives. You know, we talked about offering alternatives to passengers, to customers, right? For getting out of difficult situations. So I think we have got to look at what alternatives we have as well in this difficult situation. You know, there are going to be the rules and the law that we have to abide to. But at the same time, I think we've also got to look at what are the different alternatives that are there for us to make life better, or to improve the quality of life for us. You know, and I would say simple things, you know, keep reading, keep the mind active. Keep the mind active, keep the body active. These two things is very important. So read a lot and exercise. You know, go for a walk in the park, go for a jog in the park, get that adrenaline flowing, get that blood flowing, get the endorphins, the serotonin flowing, you know, because magical things happen in the brain when all these chemicals are flowing within the body. You know, read a lot so that that optimism level is always maintained and we get new ideas. Something amazing happens when we read, you know, books. It triggers a lot of creativity from within, and we start getting ideas that maybe we've never thought of before, which may be worth exploring, right? So I would say, yeah, do this thing, you know, keep learning, keep exercising, keep the body active and keep the mind active.
Nice. All right. Really, thank you very much for your sharing your insights. So, how do people want to connect with you?
Okay, well, if you want to connect with me personally, you can always go to LinkedIn and you can just connect with me on LinkedIn, Jit Puru. At the same time, do go and check out the Ideas and Inspiration YouTube channel. There's a lot of great resources there. You know, do subscribe to our channel. And I do make it a point to try to add more and more videos, videos that are going to add values to people's lives. So do check them out. And if you do like the content, do share them, because the more people come across this content, the more people we can help. You know,
wonderful. Thank you very much, Jit. All right, so we have Jit here today sharing his experiences as a flight steward and then as the founder of Ideas Inspiration. Remember to subscribe to his channel at the Ideas Inspiration, youtube.com Ideas Inspiration, or you can go to him through LinkedIn. And of course, if you have also not subscribed yet to this Creativity Talks channel, you can go to youtube.com/Hazriq TV. We have other resources mainly pertaining to creativity as well. So hope to see you in other programs, other events as well. Once again, thank you very much, Jit, for your sharing, and we hope to see you in other events as well. All right.
You're most welcome, Hazriq. Thank you so much for having me. It's really been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. And as always, I always enjoy our little chats that we have.
Yes.
And I'm here to support you all the way. So
all right, man. Thanks.
All the best.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. All right. So for the viewers out there, hopefully the session has been very beneficial. So feel free to join us in other creativity talks over here in YouTube. Till then, Hazriq Idrus signing off and Jit Puru signing off. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good day. All right. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.